he looked unmarked. And I know he took some pain, but I just think they took it to the body. All right. It was just interesting. It was an interesting visual. Sounded great, looked great. Shared a couple of things. First and foremost, that he's not retired.
He looked into the camera with a face that shouldn't have been intact. After a war that would have sent most men to a hospital bed for a month, Justin Gaethje sat there unmarked and delivered a message that chilled the entire UFC. He's not retiring. He's not slowing down. In fact, he's just getting started on a warpath that is about to redefine the lightweight division. The human highlight reel just proved he isn't just a fighter. He's a force of nature that defies every law of physics and logic. If you thought his career was winding down, you couldn't be more wrong. The wildfire is just beginning to spread.
Justin hasn't needed to fight, in terms of for money, in a very long time. I don't know inside of him in terms of accomplishment. I don't know. He was the interim champion of the world. He was the BMF champion. He became the first ever two-time interim champion.
It defies logic to see a man come out of a Fight of the Year contender looking like he just finished a light sparring session. Gaethje took immense damage to his body, yet his spirit remained completely untouched and ready for more. This visual paradox is exactly why the rest of the 155-pound division should be terrified right now. While most fighters are looking for an exit strategy after a devastating war, Gaethje is already looking for his next target. He's not just surviving these battles, he's thriving in the chaos. The immediate dismissal of retirement talk wasn't a casual comment, it was a defiant roar into the face of Father Time.
I only see legacy as a corrupt way of getting out of something hard. The only guys that have ever used legacy that I have seen, and don't forget, guys like George St. Pierre never talked about it.
In an era where fighters often hint at retirement after major victories or heartbreaking losses, Gaethje stands completely alone. This isn't just a casual statement to keep the fans interested. It's a formal declaration of war against the entire lightweight roster. Think about the physical toll this sport takes on an athlete. How many people in contact sports can look that good so soon after a grueling battle? It's almost unsettling to witness. It's a testament to his elite conditioning and a brutal fighting style that somehow targets his opponents far more than himself. But the physical recovery is only half of the story because his mental game is sharper than ever.
Justin is talking about, I still feel that inside. In fact, he even worded it different. He said, I don't feel inside that it's over. So, and another thing that we must credit Gaethje when it is time to look at his legacy, when he is done, when he is old, and when he is a has-been, one thing that we will look back fondly on is that he fights the right guy, regardless of who that guy is.
This is it.
Gaethje is in a position most fighters only dream of because he doesn't need to fight for money. He's been financially secure for a long time, which makes his decision to keep going even more menacing. When a man doesn't need a paycheck to step into a cage, he becomes the most dangerous person in the room. He's not there to collect a check or pad his bank account. He's there for the pure, unadulterated love of the hunt. This isn't about career longevity or retirement funds. It's about a man who is addicted to the grind and the absolute certainty of his own skills. The motivation here is far deeper than dollars and cents.
That is, I want to be champion. The end. I don't care who I have to fight to get there. I don't care how bad of a matchup it is. I don't care if the guy's beat me before. I don't care if he's beaten me 3 times before. Whoever I have to go through. And Gaethje really did prove that.
If you look at his resume, it's a laundry list of accomplishments that would make any Hall of Famer jealous. He's been an interim champion, the BMF champion, and the first ever 2-time interim champion in history. He has conquered every piece of hardware the UFC has ever put on the line. The promotion literally has no other belts to offer him at this point, yet he refuses to step away. It begs the ultimate question: if it's not for the money, and it's not for titles he hasn't already tasted, what exactly is keeping Justin Gaethje locked in that cage? The answer reveals a fighter's psyche that is as fascinating as it is terrifying.
Give me a title fighter, give me my walking papers. It wasn't kidding. It wasn't threatening to go somewhere else. It comes back to the other points that I made, that he doesn't have to do this anymore. He was just going to go home and spend different ways to spend his time.
Many athletes talk about their legacy as they approach the end of their careers, but Gaethje has a scathing take on that concept. He sees the legacy conversation as nothing more than a corrupt smokescreen. To him, it's a convenient exit strategy for fighters who are looking for a way out of something hard. It's a harsh truth that many in the industry are afraid to examine. And a fighter starts talking about their legacy. Does it really signify a deep reflection on their career? Or is it just a code word for a decline in their will to fight? Gaethje believes that the mention of legacy usually signals the end, not a new chapter.
But there was a championship. He said that's what he wanted. Said he'd fight anybody for it. And he did. Which then drew him into the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, 4-1 underdog. But he walked out there and did it. Had nothing to do with the opponent. Had nothing to do with the odds. Had to do with the championship. He said that's what he wanted. So he went and did it.
He points to legends like Georges St-Pierre and Khabib Nurmagomedov to prove his point. These were fighters who in their prime never publicly obsessed over their place in history. They didn't need a grand narrative or a PR-friendly legacy to justify their presence in the octagon. They simply showed up, competed at the highest level, and won. They didn't need to articulate their place in history because their actions spoke louder than any interview could. Gaethje embodies that same spirit today. He isn't interested in talking about his place among the greats. He's only interested in the next person standing across from him.
Will retire based on who's next. A number of guys. I won't call them out, but they've done it. Number of guys. We're not going to retire. Well, I might retire, but might retire means let me hear what your next idea is. And if it's a hard one, then maybe I'll walk away.
This refusal to engage in legacy talk isn't a sign of ignorance. It's a testament to his present moment focus. He is completely committed to the next battle, regardless of what it means for his historical ranking. This mindset is a chilling message for the rest of the division. If Gaethje isn't fighting for historical validation, then he's fighting for something much more primal. He's fighting because he still feels that fire burning white hot inside of him. He explicitly told Joe Rogan that he doesn't feel like it's over yet. This isn't a strategic calculation based on rankings. It's a gut feeling that he still has more violence to give.
You gotta fight for a win, have a glorious moment with the BMF belt. You gotta go to UFC 300 and defend it, giving it a lineage. Those don't count? No, those don't count. Okay, right, I mean, it's one of those things like, well, you know, it's Justin Gaethje, you gotta respect for him. Okay, I don't understand, but okay, or Justin Gaethje now. So on Joe Rogan, he says, I want money.
One thing we have to credit Gaethje for is his unwavering commitment to fighting the right guy. This isn't about picking favorable matchups or chasing popularity contests on social media. It's about a fundamental belief in proving yourself against the very best, regardless of the odds or the stylistic nightmare they might present. This rare quality sets him apart from almost everyone else in the sport. While others are busy strategizing for the easiest path to a title shot, Gaethje is embracing the wrestler's mindset of taking on any challenge. He wants to beat the champion, and he doesn't care who he has to go through to get there. His philosophy is simple. I want to be the champion. The end. There are no caveats, no conditions, and no excuses. He doesn't care how bad of a matchup an opponent is. He doesn't care if the guy has beaten him before. He doesn't even care if he's lost to the same person 3 times in a row. His eyes are fixed on the undisputed gold, and whoever is standing in that path becomes his next target. This ruthless, singular focus provides a powerful insight into the competitive drive that fuels him. It's a message that should keep every top contender in the lightweight division awake at night. Gaethje has backed up this anybody, anywhere philosophy time and time again throughout his career. There was a moment when he literally told the UFC to give him a title shot or give him his walking papers. Think about the sheer audacity of that demand. This wasn't some empty threat designed to get a better contract. He was genuinely willing to walk away from the sport he loves if the ultimate challenge wasn't presented to him. He doesn't need the money, remember? His commitment to the championship quest transcends financial gain or career longevity. It's an unshakable belief in his own destiny as the best in the world. When the UFC called his bluff, he didn't flinch. He was ready to go home and find different ways to spend his time if the path to the gold was blocked. This revelation adds incredible weight to his current declaration that he isn't done yet. It proves that his words are always backed by decisive action. He's not just a fighter, he's a man of unwavering principles who won't settle for anything less than the peak. This walking papers moment was the blueprint for his entire career. When he faced seemingly disastrous matchups like Charles Oliveira, he didn't hesitate for a second. He wasn't scared of the betting odds or the narrative that he was a massive underdog. He was solely concerned with the gold belt at the end of the tunnel. This is the essence of the highlight moniker. He doesn't just put on a show. He actively seeks out the most dangerous stages to prove his dominance. Even when he stepped into the cage against the pound-for-pound king as a 4-1 underdog, his mindset never wavered. The opponent didn't matter, and the odds certainly didn't matter. Only the championship mattered. This is the pattern that defines his career and makes his current stance so credible. This consistent behavior sends a message that the lightweight division cannot ignore. When Gaethje says he's coming for the title, it's not a suggestion, it's a promise. He isn't playing mind games or looking for a shortcut. Even when a name like Arman Tsarukyan is mentioned, a truly dangerous contender, Gaethje doesn't shy away. He leans into the challenge. He's even closed the door on other appealing options like a massive rematch with Ilia Topuria because his sights are set solely on the undisputed title. He is pursuing the apex of the sport with every single fiber of his being. In stark contrast, many other fighters in the UFC choose their opponents with extreme care. There is a brutal truth in the fight game that many athletes retire not because they are physically done, but because of who is next in line. Some use the threat of retirement as a thinly veiled negotiation tactic. They wait to hear what the next idea is, and if the opponent is too difficult, they find a convenient exit strategy. This stands in complete opposition to Gaethje's mentality. He's not looking for a way out. He's looking for a way in, regardless of how much blood he has to spill to get there. This subtle art of opponent selection often gets cloaked in talk about legacy or family, but Gaethje sees through all of it. He believes it corrupts the sport and diminishes the raw competition that fans actually want to see. He operates on a different plane of transparency, speaking his mind even when it's controversial. While this openness makes him a fan favorite, it also opens him up to intense scrutiny. His recent comments about wanting more money have raised some eyebrows, especially considering his financial standing. But for a top-tier athlete, is it a fair demand or a tone-deaf request? His demand for a title shot has now evolved into a different kind of demand for respect and compensation. He's had glorious moments with the BMF belt, defending it at UFC 300 and giving it a real lineage. But to Gaethje, even those moments don't seem to count toward his ultimate goal. His dismissal of the BMF belt's long-term value suggests an almost obsessive focus on the undisputed championship. It's a stance that is difficult to reconcile with his fight anyone mentality, but it shows that for him, anything less than being the undisputed number one feels like a consolation prize. This brings us to the most surprising shift in his public statements. After years of proving he doesn't need the money, he has started talking about it openly, not just regular money, but big money. This shift from purely chasing competition to discussing financial demands has sparked a brand new conversation among fans. How do people react when a multimillionaire athlete at the peak of his power demands even more? It adds a layer of complexity to his motivations that we haven't seen before. Is he trying to secure a future for his family, or is he simply testing his value to the promotion? The BMF belt holds immense symbolic value for the fans, but for Gaethje it's just a tool. It delivered unforgettable moments, but it isn't the destination. This mindset, while understandable for a competitor of his caliber, sometimes clashes with how the public perceives him. He is a man who values the currency of championship gold above all else. If the BMF isn't enough, then the entire division needs to be ready for the storm he is bringing. He is looking for the only thing he hasn't yet secured permanently, and he's willing to burn every bridge to get to it. The warning is clear. Justin Gaethje is still the most dangerous man in the lightweight division. He's not looking for a graceful exit or a move into a commentary role anytime soon. He is listening to an internal compass that points directly toward the belt. This isn't about cementing a place in history or making sure people remember his name. It's about the pure, unadulterated combat that happens inside those 8 walls. He's a man driven by a primal urge to compete, and that fire hasn't dimmed a single bit since the day he first stepped into the UFC. Every young contender coming up the ranks needs to understand that the gatekeeper to the title isn't a man on his way out. He is a man who is refining his craft and becoming more dangerous with every war he survives. Gaethje's ability to recover and reset is his greatest weapon. While others are nursing injuries and contemplating their futures, he is already back in the gym, sharpening the tools of his trade. He isn't fighting for a legacy, he's fighting for the present moment. And in the present moment, there is nobody more terrifying to face than a man who has nothing to lose. The UFC lightweight landscape is shifting, but Gaethje remains the constant variable that nobody can solve. He is the wrecking ball that stands between the rising stars and the championship gold. His message to the division wasn't just words, it was a promise of more violence to come. He's not done, and he's not going anywhere until he has that undisputed belt around his waist. The human highlight reel is ready to add a few more chapters to his story, and they promise to be the bloodiest ones yet. The rest of the division has been officially put on notice. As the dust settles on his latest performance, the message to the UFC lightweight division is undeniable. Justin Gaethje isn't looking for a graceful exit or a celebratory lap around the octagon. He's looking for a fight that tests the very limits of his soul. Whether he's facing a pound-for-pound king or a rising contender, his approach remains the same. He's the man who would rather walk away forever than take an easy path to the top. The division has been warned. The most dangerous version of the highlight is the one who has nothing left to lose and everything to prove.